Let's go on to chapter 2. So yesterday we talked about introduction to operations management. All right, we have competitiveness, strategy, and productivity. So each of these is one portion by itself. Then we can piece them together at the end of it. All right. So in terms of competitiveness, let's come on to this. All right. So same thing as always, we need to define, we need to remember the definition. Okay, so we say how effectively an organization meets the wants and needs of customers relative to others that offer a similar or substitute goods or services. So if we think about it, how do we achieve competitiveness? So it says here that to be competitive, we want to meet the needs and wants of customers. So, okay, this is to be better than others and offering similar or substitute products, right? What are the possible ways to be competitive? How can we be competitive? Okay, optimization. Okay, that could be possible. Okay, so here it says it's key into this area. Right, of course, the specific strategies we'll talk about it later on. All right, so how do we actually know that we are better than the rest? So first thing is we need to identify the customer wants and needs, right? So in order to do this, we need a lot of data. So here we need a lot of data. We can look at the sales trends. You can see how we perform across different months, different periods, and we see where the sales comes from, for example. Okay, let's say the iPhone, right? Okay, so let's say we look at iPhone. So anyway, this is Apple's website, right? And then here we have the SEC filings. So this is with the stock exchange in US. Okay, so then they list on the stock exchange, and then they have to provide all these documents here for people to look at it, all right? Because all information has to be transparent, okay, when you are listed on the stock exchange. So when we come here, let's say now we are interested in some data. Okay, so we look at the annual report. This is as of 3rd of November 2023. And let's zoom in. We want to see where the majority of the business comes from for Apple, right? So let's see if we can find this over here. Financial statements. Okay, managed to find. Otherwise, it would be very awkward if we just stand here for 10 minutes. Okay. Okay, so you guys can see, let me zoom in a bit. All right, so if you look at the data here, we can see that they have listed iPhone, Mac, iPad wearables services. Okay, so we have 2023, 2022, and 2021, right? So this is the revenue data for Apple. And this is quite obvious, right? This is the biggest number. So we have iPhones that commands the highest revenue across the last 3 years. Okay, and compared to Mac, compared to iPad wearables, all these, right, they are not too bad. All these are in millions, right? If you just earn 1 million, it's a lot of money, but all these are in millions. 29,000 millions, 200,000 in millions, and so on. So if iPhone is selling the most, right, this is a good data. So where would Apple focus the efforts, the resources on? Right, because this sells the most, and easily it is like what, almost 10 times, 8 times of this, then about 3 times of this around here, right? So it's a lot. So once we have all this, we know where to focus on, right? And then coming back to this, okay, so we want to know what they want and what they require and focus the energies on that. But what if you are a new company? Then how do you know what they want? So Apple, okay, so in case you're still wondering, so Apple here has been established for many, many years, right? So all these numbers are easily obtainable. You can just get it from last time. But what if I'm starting a new business now? Or my business has just started for like 3 months, right? Then how do you know all this? What customers want, what customers need? How do you find the information?
When people are more interested towards a course,
Okay.
when you think they will be automatically where I spend,
Okay.
and the second category will make and will ensure to make or give awareness about the college to people who are in category and make the consumer.
Okay, so
Basic thing that every morning people are doing product in the market.
Okay, thank you.
Market prediction until the hold on our predictions forecasters.
Okay, so credit cards, they split into different income levels. Let's say I'm under the more affluent category, right? So they offer different perks, different kinds of credit card, different tiers. Let's say I'm just a normal, they call it mass market. Then we offer like the normal kind of credit card to them. Okay, so that could be one. Then let's say in terms of age, right? So we can categorize based on income. We can categorize based on age. So what products are we going after? Which customer segment are we going after? And then we produce for them. Okay, so that could be one. The other way is you could also look at your competitors, right? So let's say I want to sell sandwich. Okay, so I could be a new company. I want to sell sandwich, right? I'll scan across and we'll see. Okay, wait, okay. And we'll see how the different sandwich markets, the shops, they are operating, right? So let's say I want to compete against Subway. And then I'm a new sandwich company, right? How can I possibly know what to do well in any possible way? So let's throw this question back. So now I want to go after Subway, right? I want to offer something similar. And I want to also sell sandwiches. You know sandwiches, right? You know Subway, okay. So how can I do my research to know what customers want and then do something at least similar or even better?
Go to the store and see how it works.
Okay, yes, right. So often they will leave the reviews. If you realize nowadays all online, right? So it could be very easy. You could go online, you can search. Let's say now I go and search. Okay, so reviews about Subway here. Bad review. The first one is a bad service. Okay, so I've enjoyed eating. My experience at these outlets was a messy one. Food as usual was great, but the staff need a lesson or two in being polite and giving good service. Okay, so this was in April. This was 10 years ago, right? Okay.
No, not any review even after that.
Sorry.
Not even a review after that.
Huh?
Then
Why? So, okay, so this could be one approach, right? Because we want to sell something and we want to know how they fare. Going down to see can be one way. If we are a bit lazy, no time, don't want to go down, right? Then you can actually look at the reviews and see which areas to improve on. Typically, if let's say I'm selling something online, right? This one is one example. Let's say another example, okay? Amazon. Okay. So we mentioned yesterday that you can sell something online, right? As a third-party seller. What do you want to sell? Shoes. Okay. Let's say I want to sell shoes. All right. I want to sell something similar. This is an example. We want to see where to improve on, how to be better than the competitors, right? This one is a good example because all the sellers come on the same platform. So it gets very competitive and you want to stand out. So what we can do is we can go to the review. This one, let's choose something with reviews. This one has 6,000 reviews. Okay, 6,000. This one. Okay, let's look at the 2 stars, see what they say. Okay, cloud foam compote. Is it no cushion in upper sole? Feeling very hard sole even in walking. Okay, Japanese, don't understand. I really doubt about the originality of the product. Supposed to be running shoe with very comfortable inner soles, but I hardly feel any kind of inner sole comfort. Is there inner sole? And so on. Right? So we want to sell shoes, we want to sell something similar. But we don't just go in and then we just sell whatever we have, right? We have to do some research first because we want to be competitive. So in this case, right, to identify what the customers want, you can hear, you can listen to what they say. So in this case, for example, these are what the customers mentioned. Like this one from 2 years ago, they mentioned all this. It's very hard, it's not very comfortable, and then maybe the size is a bit larger than usual. So these are some of the things to take note. Then of course, if you are selling something like this, okay, if you are selling, makes sense. Okay, let's move on. Next one, in terms of pricing, how do we be competitive in terms of pricing? Yeah, see this, the silence. Silence is a friend. So how? So pricing can be a competitive advantage, right? Because we are talking about being competitive. So how can pricing help you to stand out? Do we go for the very low price or do we go for the higher price?
Low price.
Okay, so let's say, an example. Let's say I am going after, I'm selling household items. Okay, let's say I'm selling household items. Okay, give you an example again. Let's say value dollar shop, right? This one should be easy to relate. We have seen this around Singapore. Okay. So what is the pricing strategy that they adopt here? Very low price, right? So they've been doing very well. You don't hear of them shutting down because people will all support the business, right? This is $70, 70 cents, 50 cents for this chocolate bar. If you see the shampoos, I think the price very hard to beat, right? $1 for this shampoo. Okay, and the brands are not any random brands. It's not like some brands you never heard before. These are quite well-known brands, right? Let's see. Okay, Dove, at least you've heard before, right? It's not like, hey, what is this, right? And then the rest, okay, Everfresh, maybe. Okay, goat milk, right? Goat milk, something similar. So shouldn't be quite too bad. So here, this is based on a low pricing strategy, right? But is there any pitfalls with this? So we go, I charge lower price, you charge lower price. Is there any problems, disadvantages? Generally, like let's say this one they charge $1, right? Today I also come in and sell and charge $1, or I sell 90 cents. Could there be any issues? Profit? Okay, profits possibly. If you've taken economics before, have, don't have. Okay. Last day. Okay, this one then. Okay, so this is the idea, right? Because we say that we are going after a lower price, then we can make more money. Okay, so to some extent, yes, right? Let's say now we look at the economics term, we call this a price elastic demand. Okay, so what happens here is you look at this is a demand supply curve. We have price and quantity on this graph. Then you notice here that the price change is a smaller gap compared to the quantity change. So the characteristic of this type of demand is whenever the price changes, consumers are very responsive. So the price change is smaller than the quantity change. For example, these are people who care about price. Let's say in the case of value dollar shop, right? Why do we go there to shop? Because we are drawn to the low price. We are after the discounts. So then if they offer a discount, we will go. But if you want to buy shampoo, you go to supermarket, right? And you see maybe $2, $3, you probably won't buy because you remember that value dollar shop is selling for $1. Assuming you don't care so much about quality. Okay, you're okay with not so good brand, right? You're not after organic ingredients, everything good, right? You just want something cheap. Then yes, this is the category that we fall under. Okay, so back to this, if we reduce the price just that bit, right? Let's say here we reduce the price by this small gap, the quantity is going to increase by that big gap over there, right? So the revenue is going to be higher the moment we reduce the price. So you look at this, initially, how much were they earning? 60 times 50, right? When they were selling at 60, they sold 50 units. So 60 times 50, $3,000, for example. Okay, now when you reduce the price to 50, the quantity goes up to 100. So the revenue is now 5,000, correct? Okay, so to some extent, we reduce the price, the overall revenue can be higher if we are selling an item with a price elastic demand. That means consumers care about price, they will choose where is the cheapest. Okay, so this could be one way of explaining, but could there be any problems with that? So I keep lowering the price, lower, 80 cents, 70 cents, 60 cents, 50 cents, right? Then could it be like forever increasing revenue? Yes, 30 cents, 20 cents, 10 cents, free. Right? So your revenue is the highest. So here in this case, the problem comes because there's always a limit. So you wouldn't even go to zero because if this thing costs you 50 cents to buy, you wouldn't even sell at 50 cents. There's no point, right? If you sell 50 cents and you bought at 50 cents from supplier, then you break even, right? Then why go through the whole effort just to break even? Might as well I stay at home and watch Netflix, right? I enjoy the time more. So there will be a cap to how low it can go, right? And if I charge lower, you charge lower, this results in a price war, right? Make sense? You know, heard of the price war? Okay. Okay, so this could result in a price war. But yes, to some extent, if you lower the price, people could come to you. Okay, so pricing here a bit two ways, a bit like ambiguous because you can go lower, but it's only to a certain extent. Let's say you go to the other end, we have a very premium pricing. Let's say I go for a haircut, right? Let's say okay, we have different kinds of hair salons. This one I think is all over Singapore as well. If you have seen this, right? This one I think used to charge like $10 now, probably 14, 12, $14 because of GST, inflation, all that. So this is quite a normal kind, right? There's also a more expensive one. Let's say if you have gone to Orchard to shop, then you may have seen this salon. This one have? Go there before? Okay, let's see how much he charges for the haircuts. May have, may not have, all right? Let's see if there's a pricing over there. Kim Robinson, Singapore. Okay, okay. So this one is on the cheaper end. No, you know why, you know why. Okay, so just now we had the K card, right? It's like Korean card, very fast card, 10 minutes around there, $10+. This one here, this is by Kim Robinson, the same example I showed you just now. Okay, so they have a salon at Orchard. This is at Ngee Ann City, right? You go to Orchard, there's only one branch. You won't find this at Woodlands, Tampines, don't have, only at Orchard, right? One premium shop. So they of course have a team, right? They have a team, and then all the stylists, all the hairdressers there, they will charge like all these prices. You can see it's tiered. So artist 1, 2, and then artistic team, creative team. So this is just for a haircut. Okay, going up to 248. But this is not by the owner himself. Okay, so the Kim Robinson here, this is the owner. You can see that this is his photo, right? So he will not belong to that category that you saw. Okay, so he will not, give me a while, huh? This one. Okay, so he will not be within this. These are just the employees, right? They are working and they charge these prices for the haircut. So then for himself, if I'm not wrong, because now cannot see. If I remember correctly, I saw somewhere it's about $2,000. That's why this is cheaper. Okay, let me find again. Okay. Price. You see, I didn't bluff you. Okay, so this one here, this was, let me see for context. This was in 2018. Okay, and this was about 6 years ago. So probably it went up because of inflation. Okay, so you can expect a bit higher. So it has been around for some time. The prices are probably around there, right? So it's still largely the same as what we saw. Just now was 100 plus, 200 plus, right? So this one is largely the same. Then for himself, it's 2007 because he has done the hair of Princess Diana and all these celebrities, right? So you're having a haircut by the stylist who did the hairdo of Princess Diana, right? Cannot be the same, right? So $2,700 about 6 years ago. So maybe now 3,000. Okay. Then of course there are the rest, right? So you have other celebrity hairstylists, 400 plus, and so on. Yeah, 500, 600, all this. So these are on the premium pricing. First thing is we charge the premium pricing. Then how good or why would this method or this way of pricing be advantageous? Higher end customers. So revenue could be higher, right? Because you are serving fewer customers, but you're charging a higher price for every customer. You don't have to work so hard.
They'll be constant. They'll be like constant. They won't go anywhere.
Like you? Like you? Okay, so in this case, it could belong to another category of demand. So just now we saw the demand curve, it was this, right? Then now we have another category. We call this the price inelastic demand. Okay, so what happens here is the customers in this case, they are not so responsive to the price change. So the price can go up by 40% in this example. The quantity only drops by. So you can increase the price. They are like, okay, I'll still use it. I'll still consume, right? At most we consume a bit less. That's all. Cigarettes, increase the price, people still smoke. Water, electricity, increase the price, you still need to shower, right? Or you stop showering since you came, right? Electricity, all have to use. So this will be the category of inelastic demand. So if let's say we can make them very loyal customers, then you shape them to this kind of demand, then even if you increase your price a bit, they wouldn't all stop coming, right? They will come. And with that, we increase the total revenue. So at first, they were selling at $10 and then 88 units. Now it goes up to $14 and we still sell 80 units. So then the revenue is higher by raising the price. Okay? Okay. So this could be to, let's say if you were to ask an entrepreneur whether going the cheaper way or the expensive way is better, from their perspective, it probably will be higher price, right? Because first thing, higher price, you don't need to work so hard. Let's say you compare, he sells or he does a haircut probably 1 hour, okay, even you do it slowly. He does a haircut, he will already earn $2,700 6 years ago, okay, probably 3,000 now. Then finish, right? He can go for a coffee, that's all, right? I finished my work today. I earned $3,000 already, very good. If you look at the K cuts, right? Let's say we look at the K cut. K cut, every haircut costs about $14. So you do it very fast. 1 hour probably can serve 2 to 3 customers. So probably we earn about 20 plus to $40 per hour. How much do they have to cut to work in order to earn the $3,000? Cannot count, right? You understand what I'm saying, right? He charged 2,000 plus. He just do one haircut, 1 hour plus, he can go home already, right? This one, the auntie can stand from morning until at night, right? Let's say 10 hours, 11 hours. They will just earn maybe $200, $400 for the shop, not for herself, right? For the shop. And then in order to get to $3,000, you have to work like 10 days, 9 days, right? So you have to work so much, it probably will be the same effort, okay? You have to work so much, but you earn much less. But at the same time, if we look at the pitfalls of higher pricing, we're sending a signal. We're telling people that the quality is probably lower, right? If you charge higher price, no response. So if you charge higher price, you're telling people that you're selling a higher quality product. Okay, so you're selling a higher quality product. So higher quality product, that means you have to deliver on your promise. So if I sell you a $1 shampoo, if you start to have itchy hair, itchy face, everywhere itchy, you probably will just complain, but you kind of expected because you chose a $1 shampoo, right? Something happens, you're just my bad luck. But you go for a $2,000 haircut and it looks like very ugly, you'll be very upset, right? Because they sort of promised a fantastic hairdo, right? And now you come out, you look like 10 years older, right? Then you wouldn't feel happy. But a $2 haircut, right? A $2 haircut, let's say you go for a $2 haircut at the Academy salon, right? Let's say, okay, let's say now, this one, okay? Let's say we go for Academy haircut, right? Let me see. Yeah, okay. Students, $7. Then yes, you kind of expect like, okay, if there's a bit of a unevenness, a bit ugly, right? There's a hole, then yeah, okay lah, fine, it will grow. Right? So the expectation is different. Okay, anyway, this one is by the students because they are learning hairdressing, they need people to practice. So here they charge very low price to get people to go in and then they can practice on you. Okay, so different kinds of services, right? So in this case, pricing becomes hard if you want to set a premium level, but if you can deliver on your promise, then it makes your life easier. I serve one customer, $2,000. The other case, one customer, $14, $12. You deserve like 100, 1,000, 2,000. Then you can get to the same level of revenue. Okay, all right. Advertising and promotion, we see how we can market ourselves to the people to get them to know what we are doing. So we say that usually for advertising, we are serving two purposes. Okay, so the first one, we want people to know what we are doing or know who we are. Let's say today I start selling, what do you want me to sell? I sell insurance, right? Let's say I sell insurance, but I don't tell anyone. Technically, I could be insurance agent now, as of this moment. Possible? Possible, right? This could be my part-time job. It is my part-time job, okay? So I could be an insurance agent, right? There's no issue here. I could be insurance agent. I want to sell you insurance policy, but I didn't tell you. Then will you even think of buying from me? No, right? So my first step is to let you know, hey, I'm doing this, right? And then you are informed, then you can even consider. Okay, so that's one, right? First thing, to inform. Second one is to persuade. So if let's say you follow me on Instagram, or let's say you follow me on TikTok or whatever, right? And then I keep posting about related content. So you know already, and every day you see my stories, my messages, okay, he's selling insurance, he's talking about financial planning, he does this, he does that, right? And then you know that I'm selling insurance. I'm from whichever company. But now my purpose is not to tell you I do that, but to persuade you, please buy from me. Okay, so in a way, two phases. So first one is to inform, second one is to persuade. Because you may know already, right? Just like you know that the bubble tea shop sells bubble tea, right? And then
This concept comes under identifying consumer wants and needs or creating wants for the customer.
okay. That's interesting. So if you create the need, that means you make them realize that they could use this product, right?
You're creating the need for the customers, right? By posting your ads on Instagrams and making customers to buy your insurance actually. So this is creating the wants and needs. It is not identifying the needs, right? It's completely different.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Correct. Possible. So we could also inform them that they need this. They haven't thought about it yet, but now I'm telling you, hey, you probably need this service.
Because
Right.
insurance is a basic need for everyone.
Mm,
So that
mm,
you're
mm.
creating that basic need for the customer to buy your insurance.
Okay.
It's creation of
Okay. So now will you buy from me, right? Later I'll sell. Okay. So these are some of the key things, right, that we can identify, we can look at when we are doing the marketing in order to get your competitiveness. Okay, let me move on, otherwise still here. Okay, so some areas, right? Some areas that we can compete. So this one, just now I was looking at the marketing aspect. Now, if you look at the operations aspect, right? So it could overlap a bit, but this would be to do with the production side, how we can be even better than the competitors. Okay, just some examples. So let me see slide 5. Okay. So this one here on the slides, they give in point form. We have it explained in the notes. Okay, so you have a bit of a write-up for this. Again, if you recall, we said that for the longer questions, you need to look out for those points with a lot of content. So this one can easily be an essay question. Give you a clue, huh? So we'll leave too many clues so that you'll still be clueless. So this one can be part of an essay, or we can ask as a short answered question, because there's a lot of things that you can write. Okay, then also you can give examples, because all these things you can come up with something to explain yourself. So things like, for example, your designs, okay, let's say, okay, so in terms of quality, are we looking at a higher quality product, or are we looking at a normal quality product? Right? Wouldn't say low quality, but we still expect some sort of a normal basic level, right? Like a shampoo. If you are charging $1, we still expect the shampoo to be able to wash off your dirt, right? You still have to wash, perform the basic function. But it may not be an organic product. It may cause cancer. You know, this one can cause cancer, right? Some of the ingredients inside. You know, right? The sodium something, sodium, this one. Okay, so if you see this chemical in most of the shampoos, this one probably will be the first ingredient listed. This can actually cause some cancer or something. Okay, that's why the organic shampoos, they probably will not use this. It becomes like a marketing point. All right, so coming back. Okay, so quality could be 1. Then we can look at the quick response. So quick response could be like they answer very quickly, right? Any company comes to mind when we talk about quick response. So they do reply quickly. They answer any customer queries, complaints very quickly. Any company comes to mind? Or any company comes to mind as a negative example? Like they take forever to reply. Anything comes to mind? Okay, I give you an example. Okay, I have a lot of examples, right? So last year, I was supposed to go Japan. Okay, and then this was a very expensive trip because I didn't want to go. My friends put me along, and then the ticket was about 1,000 plus per person, and it's only budget. It's only Scoot. It's not 1,000 for first class or what. No, it's just basic Scoot, right? And then it's overnight. So that means you're going to sit like this and then sleep. And then next day when you get down the plane, it's going to be all crammed over. So it was about $1,000. And then give me a while, huh? Okay. And then I had to pay for my family as well. So this trip was free for them, and just the air ticket was about 3,000 plus for me. Very expensive to go Japan. And then the hotels, right? Hotel is about quite expensive also. So all in all, the whole trip, I think about 7,000. Yeah, so again, free for my family, 7,000 for me. Right? To go Japan, I haven't spent a single thing to buy anything yet. It's just flying and staying. So then, unfortunately, my son actually got sick a few days before. I don't know if I told some of you guys the story. So then, we're supposed to go, I think, mid-December, and then he fell sick like 4 5 days before. Very bad influenza, some fever or something. So he thought, okay, he should be okay in time, right? Just eat medicine, go to the clinic. It took about 1 week plus. So it was after the flight day that he got better. So we couldn't go. Yeah. So the Japan trip didn't happen. So $7,000 gone. Okay. So anyway, so I called up Scoot, right? Call up Scoot, then we sent email. They didn't respond very quickly. So it took forever because they say that have to let us process, have to wait. So it took actually quite a long while in order to get everything settled. Then subsequently, luckily we went through the live chat. So the live chat was a bit faster. We called in, we couldn't get anything done. So we do the live chat, then fortunately they picked up. And then they managed to refund everything, I think it still took about 3 weeks. Yeah, so they gave us all back in vouchers. So I have like $3,000 of Scoot voucher. Then it also became a complaint because then you say, hey, so my wife was complaining, then she was saying, but how will we finish this $3,000? Right? Because if you go like Bangkok, it's about 100 plus, 200, it'll take forever to finish. Yeah. Okay, so anyway, not a very quick response, probably as usual because it's like budget airlines, right? And then not as well. Okay, but if you look at other companies like probably Amazon, right? Amazon, they pride themselves on very fast service, high quality service, then the response here could be much better. Okay. Okay, so if you're using my example for exams, you need to pay $1 million, huh? Okay, so response is 1, quality of product is 1, then things like your inventory management. This one wouldn't be so applicable for services, but it could be more for like a product, right? So if you're selling a physical product, inventory management becomes quite crucial. So do you store excess or do you not store excess? One more time, okay? Let's say I sell shoes. Okay, for context. Let's say a company like Skechers, right? So we sell shoes. We want to consider about our inventory management. Do you store excess or do you not store excess? Let's say on a day-to-day, let's say every month, right? We sell, let's say 500 pairs, right? But there could be some months where people suddenly buy more. Let's say for Christmas, let's say for random event, right? That you may not be able to predict. So do you store excess or do you not store excess?
It's just about 100
Okay.
in surplus actually.
Okay, so we decide to store a bit excess. If we store excess, then what are we assuming? Like, okay, I keep extra because people will buy, right?
Particular shelf life time for this particular.
Okay. There's
But
Okay.
we pay only for inventory.
Okay.
But the product doesn't get damaged or anything.
That's true. Okay, so it doesn't get damaged, right? People may suddenly buy, but there's also an issue. Let's say now we are looking at a typical store, right? The store, we rent the space and we pay rental. So now we are going to dedicate a portion of it to store the items. That means that portion of the store will not be for display, right? Let's say imagine a rectangle, huh? Let's say this is the whole store. If we are using up the whole store for display, that means people can walk around the whole store and look at all the products. Compared to, let's say we use half the space for storage. That means the store is now only half the size. We may not be able to show all our products anymore, okay? Okay, then second thing, because we produce extra, not free, right? Let's say now this one costs $50 to produce per pair. Then we get, let's say, 100 extra pairs, right? Let's say 100 is the extra. So we're going to spend $5,000 and keep it there first. Could there be any issues? Of course, the product will be okay, right? It doesn't get damaged. But
But
yeah.
if we are manufacturing more, the cost will be less, right? As you told yesterday.
Yes.
So we're producing 500 pairs of shoes, we're producing 600.
Okay.
So it will be almost same cost actually. So if you don't have space in your store to keep, you can hire a warehouse which is nearer to the location and you can store over there. It may cost you lower.
Lower. Okay, but still a cost.
But it's sacrifice.
Okay. So no right answer. Just to give it a thought. So here the issue is we have two ways of inventory management because in terms of operations, we have to also look at whether you need to store or you don't store, right? So we have the concept of just in case. If you guys are aware of this, we mentioned before, right? Yeah, I'll keep talking about it. Okay. So the idea with just in case, okay, never mind. So some of the car companies, right, I think was Toyota, right, if I'm not wrong. So they practice this concept of just in case. They don't produce extra, right? Because let's say for cars, it's very big, it's very expensive, right? A lot of resources needed. So we only produce when the orders come in. Oh, sorry, just in time. Yeah, just in time. Okay. Talk about that first. In time. Okay. So just in time or JIT, so we only produce whenever the orders come in. So it's just in time because it's very timely, right? We don't produce very quickly in advance. We produce just when the orders come in. So, okay, we got a new order, we start producing, we deliver over, right? So any inventory, very minimal because nothing to store, right? On a day-to-day basis, if there's no order, there's nothing to store. Versus the case of just in case that we showed just now, this would be where we have the extra goods just in case customers come, right? So of course, both ways are good and also bad. This one, you can serve the customers that suddenly come. Like you are selling shoes at, let's say Skechers shoes. Suddenly people feel that, oh, Skechers are the best brand, right? And then tomorrow, there's no promotion, nothing, no new product. Suddenly you see 1,000 people queuing up just to buy the shoes, right? For any random event. So you can still serve some of them, right? Because you have extra produce. But if you use just in time, then you cannot. Because we never keep extra. Then people suddenly come in, you say, hey, sorry, I cannot serve you. We need time to produce, to deliver. But this one will save on the inventory cost, save on the storage cost. Nothing to store, nothing to spend first. So we play safe because we don't produce extra to keep. What if it cannot be sold away? What if it takes 6 months to clear everything? Then for 6 months, my cash is just the goods in the storage. Okay? Whereas for just in case, no. Whereas for just in time, right, there's no such cost associated. Okay, so this one can also be a source of competitive advantage because depending on which way you do, right, it could save you costs or it could allow you to satisfy customer needs suddenly. Okay, so this one no good and bad, depending on your customers, whether they really all come like in the same patterns or suddenly they all come suddenly, or looking at the products that you sell. So if you're selling services, this one may not be so applicable, right? Let's say now providing the teaching service, right? You cannot store the teaching service. I cannot teach and then like, okay, 2 years later, and then we just take out. Cannot, right? Doesn't make sense. And there's nothing to store, right? You cannot store the lecturers in the storeroom and then take out tomorrow, right? So there's nothing to store. Okay, so more applicable for the products. Okay, we have finished on competitiveness. All right, we go on to talk about strategy and so on. Okay, so mission. All right, so mission, strategy, and tactics. Okay, we try to finish this today, may or may not finish lah. All right, because just now talking a lot. Now still at slide 7. Okay. All right. So we make the differentiation between these three terms first. Then we look at how they piece together. All right. So first of all, okay. So we look at mission first. Mission starts first. All right. So for any business, before we talk about strategy or what you are doing, we first need to know why we are here. All right, or what you want to achieve. So in terms of mission, it is more about think of it as your goalpost. Where are you headed towards, right? What do you want to achieve? So, or where you are going as a company. So this becomes your direction. This becomes where you want to reach at the end of the day. Strategy will be how you are going there, right? Like let's say now our mission is to be the largest sandwich company in Singapore. All right, so we want to be at that level. Then strategy here will be how you're getting there, right? The broad direction. So we could want to be the largest sandwich company in Singapore. Then in terms of strategy, we are going after, let's say, a low cost strategy, right? You want to be a very affordable, a very cheap brand. Then this is how you formulate your strategy. Then we go on to talk about the tactics. So tactics will be the specific actions. So we want to go after low cost strategy. Then what are you going to do specifically? So we could have promotions every day. We could have set meal, right? Nowadays, Subway has set meal, right? Usually I'll just eat that. So it could be those. You could have, let's say, a loyalty discount, for example, and then you could offer a lot of cheaper deals like McDonald's does, right? Now, if you download the app, you get to accumulate the points, then you can buy a lot of things at a cheaper price and so on. Okay, so all these will be tactics. So mission, strategy, tactics, they come together in one set. Okay, questions? Don't have. See, no. Okay. Strategy will be more like a higher level idea. So my plan, for example, is to go after a low-cost strategy. Tactics will be the specific actions that we take. So like, okay, we're going to launch a 2-for-1 discount next week. So that will be like tactics. So let's say in terms of the operations, we say that we go with a top-down approach. So this represents, let's say the company, for example. So at the top, the higher management, they will need to decide what the company wants to achieve as a whole. Okay, so what do they want to achieve as a whole? This would be the organization's mission. That you will distill down, right? Let's say they formulate the organization's strategies next. We want to be the largest company selling sandwiches in Singapore, right? And then what strategies are we going after? Let's say you're going after the lower cost strategy, low cost. Then when you distill down, you see that it will now go into the different departments, right? We have the finance, marketing, operations. So let's say we zoom in on operations, right? How are we going to keep in line with the low cost strategy? So as the operations manager, what can we do so that we follow what the higher ups are telling us? So it could be that we have to source for the cheaper suppliers, right? Let's say this one, how is it that you are selling Dove? Supermarket is also selling Dove. Why you can sell $1, but they cannot, right? So this brand is found in many, many places. You can buy from many shops, right? But Value Dollar Shop can sell for $1. Then probably there's a reason why the other shops are not selling for $1, right? Because you're selling Dove, I'm selling Dove. Obviously, people will see, hey, this one's selling for $1, that one's selling for $2. We'll not buy from that more expensive one. Then why is it this one can sell $1 and people will buy from them? Probably because the suppliers, right? If you take a look, usually you see a lot of the Thai language boxes, the carton boxes lying around in the shops. Usually, that's what I saw. So then if you flip around to the back, they're in Thai language. So probably it would be a cheaper supplier, right? So they produce there, they send over, and then this is why they can charge $1. Okay, so we have to look for a cheaper supplier or cheaper raw material. Then you can help to keep in line with the low cost strategy. Questions so far? Okay, yay. 6 minutes and you're all dead. Okay, so different kinds of strategies. We mentioned low cost, then things like your scale-based strategy. This one will be like economies of scale. Remember from yesterday? Okay, so definition, economies of scale.
It's called an economy of scale.
Okay, so we achieve lower cost with higher production. So this would be a scale-based strategy. So here, this could be one way. So it's similar to low cost, but low cost doesn't emphasize on a high volume. Okay, whereas this one, a discount, your lower cost comes from the volume. So you produce a lot, then it's cheaper to produce, you can charge a lower price. Okay, all right. Then specialization could be that you focus on specific niche, focus on specific products. You don't serve everyone. You could offer a higher quality just for that specific niche group. So it could be, for example, okay, if you remember the salon example, okay, right, this one. So they probably are not targeting everyone, right? Some of us here may be frequent here, but not everyone. So they are not going to try to pursue everyone because with the prices that they set, $2,000 for the top stylist, but even the employees is 100 plus, 200 plus for one haircut, right? Probably we wouldn't have that budget or we don't want to spend so much. So then they are going after a niche market. This would be more of a specialization. Okay, so these are some examples of the strategies that we can use in terms of operations, right? This one's more for the operation side. Okay, coming to here. All right, so I skip a bit, otherwise we are too far behind. So in terms of strategy, we can look at what we have as the environment, what competitors we have before we formulate a strategy. Okay, because in the first place, how you decide on any of this isn't random. So you shouldn't say that, oh, I feel like charging a lower price. I feel like going after a lower cost strategy, and then I just do it, right? It doesn't work like that. So we have to analyze first and see what is the environment that we are in. Okay, so first concept here, we have this thing called a pestle analysis. So pestle analysis, this one is an acronym. We have PES. Okay. PESTLE stands for different factors that affects the company. So let's say this one was from last year, right? So about 1 year ago for Apple. Okay, you may have heard of this or you may have used this before. Pestle? Okay. So P here stands for political. Okay, this one, okay? So let me zoom in a bit. Yeah, this one. Okay, so we need not do all of this, or let's say if you're analyzing, right, or probably just looking at the KFC advertisement. Okay, so we have this list, PESTLE. So we have political, economic, social, technological, legislative, and environmental factors, right? So for any company, we can assess the environment first. So usually this concept is used when you're talking about the strategy. So yesterday, I think some of you guys saying you did the strategy management module, right? Okay, so we probably have used this in that class, right? They're just now talking to everyone so happily. Ha 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 ha. Suddenly no one talking to me anymore. Okay, so let's say for political, political, we are talking about the government's policies, right? Let's say the taxes, the subsidies, how much are we able to, how much do we have to pay the government for operating here? Any red tape, right? Is it very stringent policies to set up a company and so on? So let's say Singapore, right? Let's say Singapore, we compare the tax rate, corporate tax rate, Singapore, 17%. So if you were to set up a business in Singapore, then they charge you 17% on your profits as a business. Okay, so this one 17. Let's say any countries you want to use? Sorry? Okay. Let's see, structure a bit different, but they say here it's about, where is it? About 20 plus percent. 20 plus percent. So 25, 30, and 40, right? Depending on the different categories. Then let's say we look at for company. Let's say Hong Kong, 16.5. Okay, so of course, it's not just looking at the tax rate, right? You cannot just look at one thing. But let's say if you're comparing just this thing, the lower the better, right? So let's say Hong Kong, let's say Singapore, they could be very pro businesses because of the lower tax rate. We want to invite the businesses to come in and set up, right? So this could be part of what we look at for the analysis for the political factors. Okay, then we look at the economic factors. Economic factors, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now it's too big. Economic factors, we look at things like growth, exchange rate, GDP, etc. Right? So all these economic variables. So economic growth recently, are we experiencing growth? Recession? Inflation? How is inflation level like recently? Exchange rate? Okay. So let's say we look at the GDP of Singapore. Right. Let's say now I'm thinking about let's say I'm thinking about coming into Singapore to set up a business. So we saw that it was about 17% tax rate, quite attractive. We look at the economic factors. Let's say things like GDP. GDP here, this one 2022, it was about 3% annual change. So the economy grew about 3% in 2022. Then here, on the year, second quarter 2024, Singapore expanded about 2.9% on year basis. This is second quarter of 2024, extending the 3% growth in the previous quarter. Okay, not too bad. Too lousy, too high, too low, or also don't know, right? So then you can compare with the previous periods. So if generally it's always about 3 plus, then this is considered quite high. But if we are always growing 6%, then now 3% will seem too low. Okay, so you can compare with how you're performing in the previous periods. So GDP can be an indicator whether economy is growing or not growing. So if the economy is growing, will you invest here in Singapore? Economy is growing, right? It's about 3%. So would that be a good thing or a bad thing?
But it will be a huge investment over here.
So how? So let's look at this, right? And then we are doing the pestle analysis. So we look at Singapore's case under economics, the GDP has gone up by about 3%. So will you consider Singapore? No answer. Very sad, very sad. So 3% could be quite okay, right? First thing, because it has always grown around the same level, right? So still consistent. Second thing, with higher economic growth, that means more jobs are created, right? Because the economy is growing, more jobs created. People are earning higher incomes because people are working, right? So if they are earning income, they will be spending. Unless, of course, like they don't spend, right? That's another thing. But suppose now they do spend, then they are earning more, they will spend to buy your products. So it could be a good thing, right? Then if you look at things like inflation of Singapore here, okay. This is not the latest figures, right? If you see for inflation in Singapore, it is about 4+%. Okay, all items will include everything, but all items can include things that are very volatile in the prices. Okay, so now we are measuring inflation. So if you look at 4%, that means every year the prices go up by about 4%. Low or high? Low or high? Okay. If you look at a benchmark, usually which number is good? Usually which number is good? Very sad. No one talking to me anymore. No one talking, then like half people not looking at me already. Yes, okay. US. Okay, so if you have heard of this entity before, right? This is a central bank, this Federal Reserve. Or let's say if you read the news, you may have seen this uncle. You may have seen this, or if you watch Netflix. Okay. So this is the central bank of the US, right? This is the president. So they are, think of it as an organization by the government. So they are set up and they help to regulate the economy. Okay. So they will set goals and they will, okay, give me a while, huh? Let me see. Federal Reserve. Yeah, I just search. Okay. So if you look at Singapore's case, it was about 4% inflation, right? That means the prices are going up by 4% every year. So is it too high or too low? If you look at the benchmark set by US, they say that every year about 2% is enough. So 4% becomes very high, right? It's about double. Then if you compare with another thing, which is, let's say, okay, if you look at, let's say, the period itself, 2022, any big event happened? Or 2020, 2021, anything happened? COVID, right? COVID happened, the economy just collapsed, everyone shut down, stay at home, didn't spend, actually spend a lot, right? You go online shopping, online shopping, online shopping. Okay? Then what happened here was 2022, what happened? Nothing happened. 2020 lockdown, right? 2021, half lockdown, half not never lockdown. Let's say in Singapore, I remember like a few months, they say we open up. Then after that, suddenly they say too many cases. Let's all stay at home again. So another 1 more month, no need to work, no need to go school. So they stay at home, right? 2022, the borders opened. And then suddenly inflation shot up to 9% in the US. Okay, you can see here the US inflation in 2022, 9%, super high. We target for 2%, but you reach 8%. Why? Because people started spending a lot. COVID is over, right? Yay, celebrate. Every day buy Prada. Okay, so 8% prices went up. So then in that case, would we want to go and invest? Do we want to set up a business? Where is this one? Economics. This one. Okay, so growth we talked about, then inflation. Put 8%, 9%, make it good to set up in that country. Okay, I'll use our energy first. Later, 12 p.m. we have a class, right? Okay, use up all your energy first. Okay, third one, social factor. Are people buying all these items or not? Do they fancy your products? Let's say, are they getting older? Are they getting younger? Right, all these will affect the consumption. Let's say recently, do you drink bubble tea? You drink bubble tea? Okay, bubble tea, huh? If you heard of this brand, haven't this one? Have? Don't have. If you go to Malaysia, it's cheaper. I don't know the Singapore price. I also didn't know where it was. I don't follow closely. I was just walking past Dhoby Ghaut, you know, Plaza Singapura. Yeah, just walking past. Then I realized, oh, it's there. If I'm not wrong, it should be the only branch in Singapore. Okay, but if you go to Malaysia, many shopping malls have this, right? It's very popular, I guess, right? Because every time I go, it's quite a long queue. Like even on weekdays and so on, you can see like Friday afternoon, right? Everyone no need to work. Everyone just queuing up outside the shop, right? Ready to buy this drink. Yeah, it's quite not too bad. But also a bit because of the hype. So you see like everyone posting on Instagram, you see all these posts and everyone just queuing up, right? And then as a result, there could be other brands that people are not buying as much of. Kind of Sweet Talk. This one, you drink from there? Why not? Because you're a consumer, right? So why do you don't drink from there? Or let's say this one, still drinking? This one? Yes? No. Okay. Then Koi. Oh, so loud. Not this, not this, not this. Bubble tea. This one. Right? So the trends will change because people like want to follow the hype. Right? Everyone posting on Instagram, we want to go and drink that. Hey, it becomes like I can also post on social media. So because this one probably you don't post as much, right? If I post, I say, oh, I drink Koi today, nothing special, right? But if I post and show that, hey, I went to this and then I bought this drink, it seems a bit like, hey, everyone's also doing the same thing, right? So you're following the preferences of other people. So this one will be considered as a social factor. Okay, considered as a social factor. Then things like ages as well. Singapore, who we have more old folks or who do we have more younger people? Aging population or younger population? Singapore.
Younger.
Singapore. Older, right? Okay. So Singapore's case, Singapore population. Okay. So 2023, okay, huh? So we are just looking at the age structure. 2023, we have about 6% increase in the people 65 years and over. Then for 20 to 64 years old, we have about 1.3% increase. Okay. For the below 20s, we have 0.3% increase. Okay, can see, huh? This one quite recent, right? This is the Singapore Statistics Department, and it shows that we have this age structure. So we will label this probably as an aging population, right? So Singapore's demographics is considered aging population. So then, based on this alone, what kind of businesses could be suitable? Huh? Like, okay, make it clear. What could you sell that can be making you more money? So bear in mind here, this is aging population, 65 years and over. This one grew a lot. So that means the young, let's say people are not giving birth, right? I have a lot of friends around me, around the same age. I'm 20, okay? Okay, that's very rude. We'll finish for today. Thank you. So, okay, so around 30 plus, all right? 30 plus. Yeah, serious. 30s. 30, 30-ish, above 30. Yeah. Okay, we're not talking about age anymore, okay? Because it's very sensitive. So, they got married about, so for my batch of friends, it's quite we all got married around 5-6 years ago, like the majority. So it's like this month I go for your wedding, next month you come for my wedding, then 2 months later I go for their wedding, right? So you're seeing like the same group of friends at different weddings, different months. I remember in like the same year. So everyone got married, right, around the same period, and everyone sort of have should have a child, right, around the same age, right? So I have a majority of friends, they refuse to have a child. So it could be the husband or the wife who doesn't want the child because it comes with a lot of commitment, right? That's one thing. So you probably hear from somewhere, somewhat that is expensive and inconvenient. Then if you need an example, you take a look and see who is having a young child and see if they're very happy or very stressed, very troubled, right? Then you look at me, it's like, okay, probably they don't want to have a child. It is a big commitment. It's a big commitment. Okay, so that's why we don't want to have the child, 0.3% increase only. And whereas everyone is getting older and older, right? So this becomes an aging population. So probably if I'm selling healthcare, right? If I want to set up a hospital, I don't think I'll be afraid there's no customer, right? Because I'll have more and more customers over the years. Cannot be 65 years old, then you're super healthy, right? No illness. Probably more people. Huh? Not really lah. So yeah, okay. So probably because of this social trend, right? Certain industries could benefit, right? But let's say in this case, maybe in 5-10 years time, right? If I want to sell toys, maybe I wouldn't do as well compared to if I have a hospital for the old people. Old people, a lot of customer. I want to sell toys for babies. You see, like babies, no one wants to have a baby already, right? So expensive, so troublesome. So coming back, where was it? Here. Okay, so before I forget, so for the examples here, we talk about all these examples. If the question talks of, let's say for essays, okay, let's say for essay question, they need us to do a pestle analysis. Okay, possible essay question, So for the essay question, they may ask us to do a pestle analysis of a company you choose, right? You need to give your own example. Okay, so that's why now we talk about like all these stories and all that, right? So let's say question for essay. How many marks for essays?
10.
Okay, 10 marks. How many points? How many points to write?
3 points, including introduction and conclusion.
Okay, so 3 to 4, right? So
discuss suspension, we should give our opinion.
wow. Okay, so they could tell us to explain or to discuss about the pestle analysis, let's say of Netflix, let's say of one company. Okay, so you have to mention 3 to 4 points. So you could choose political, you could choose economic, you could choose social, and then you have to give your own example and explain. So there are many factors given here, like economic, they talk about growth, exchange rate, unemployment. So just choose something that you're comfortable with to explain. So we could, let's say I want to do for Airbnb, right? Then let's say for the economic factors, we could look at things like growth. So if people are earning more, they can go for holidays, then they may choose Airbnb to stay, right? So that could be a good thing for them. Okay, so you can explain this way. So this one, do read through. The link is given here as an example. Then you need your own stories, your own examples as well. Okay, so cannot just explain. You cannot just say economic factor means you look at GDP, exchange rate, unemployment, full stop. That's all. Okay, you cannot just say that. You have to say, okay, for example, in the case of Airbnb, they could look at the economic growth of the entire world, right? Or look at specific countries. So if these countries are growing in the economy, people are earning more income, they will go for holidays, they will stay with Airbnb. So the income of Airbnb can go up, right? So this could be your analysis like that. Okay, so I have to mention some specific examples. Then technological, okay, where was it? Okay, technological here, you can look at examples of your innovation. Like now you have AI, right? You have ChatGPT, you have all this latest technology. So if it's relevant to your industry, you can mention. Okay, if it's not, then you find something to say. Or let's say security, cyber security. Then let's say your competitors, right? Are they using new technology or not? Okay. Then after that, legal. So legal here to do with the laws. So things like intellectual property, then they mention like data privacy, etc. All right, so just going through so you can take a look. Last one, the environmental factors. Any pollution, talking about sustainability, waste disposal, and so on. So these will come under the pestle analysis framework. Questions? Alternatively, they may not use pestle. The question could ask you about SWOT analysis, right? SWOT. So this one will be another thing. So SWOT analysis here, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Okay, so let's say for Apple. So here they give so you need to first explain, right? What are the strengths? What do you do well in? What do you not do so well in? Where can you go forth from here, or what problems do you face, right? And then you give the examples as well. Okay, let's say for example, for strengths, they say that it's a strong brand recognition and loyal customers, right? And then you can explain from there. So this one, okay, this one I'll just paste it, all right, before I forget. Okay, sorry, yes. Yes, correct. Okay, so this one, you can take a look. The essay questions may ask you also. Okay, because a lot of things to write, right? So a lot of things here to read may or may not come out. Okay, so give you too many clues. Okay, then the other, where is it? Okay, this one as well. Okay, so on the topic of your strategy, right, we look at the pestle, we look at the SWOT, we also look at your order qualifiers and order winners. Okay, now for these two terms, these are terms that can be defined. So you may want to note down the definitions. Okay, a short answer question could ask us to differentiate between the two terms. So if it's a very similar term, then they can confuse you. So here a lot of things, a lot of content, they can ask for essay. This one, which is confusing, they can ask you in MCQ or they can ask you in the short answer question. I give an example of an order qualifier. How is it different from the order winners? So if you write, let's say we confuse, which one is which one, then we get it wrong. Okay, so order qualifiers, these are the things that we perceive as a minimum standard of acceptability. All right, that means if you don't have this, people wouldn't buy. Let's say here, so this is the example of the product. And then what could be an order qualifier of this product? Okay, one more time. Order qualifier means the minimum. Okay, one more time, okay? Third time. Order qualifier means the minimum standards of acceptability for products. You must achieve a minimum level of performance, people will then buy. So for this shampoo, let's say the first row, what is the order qualifier for this product? What is the minimum level of performance? Yes. So we buy the shampoo, what's the bare minimum that it must do? Must wash your hair, right? If I wash, then all the dust, everything's still there. Can accept? Cannot, right? Because we need to wash our hair. That's why I buy the shampoo, right? So that's the bare minimum. Okay, so this will be considered as the order qualifier. Then we look at the order winners. These are characteristics that cause them to be perceived as better than the competition. That will cause them to be better than the competition. All right, so order qualifier is the minimum level. Order winner will make you better to the consumers. So in this case, is there any order winner?
The conditioner is not.
Okay, something, it could be outside the product, because when we buy this, then as a consumer, we perceive this to be the best option for us, right? Let's say now I go to NTUC, convenience store, supermarket. I look around and shop around Watson's, Guardian. I was looking for shampoos everywhere. Then I come to this place and I look at this, I decide to buy the Dove shampoo, okay? So there must be something that attracted me, that made me feel this is the best, right? Yeah. So this could be also the order winner or order qualifier, the price order winner, right? Okay. So this one could be order winner because we perceive the price to be better, right? Because as a consumer, you will choose the best for yourself. Yeah, of course, of course. This one, if you can find, you can have. This one probably not so obvious within the product itself because it's considered like the normal tier, right? If you want something, let's say, more obvious, let's say we go for organic shampoo. Okay, $30. Okay, this one, Avalon Organics, right? So for this, if let's say we choose to buy, then probably the order winner, something that's better than competitor, could be, let's say, the ingredients, right? So we want something healthier. So this, of course, need to wash our hair, right? It's still the basic, but while we wash, it is also healthy. So you can see whether they mention that here. It contains organic ingredients, no GMOs, and then cruelty-free, etc. Then, of course, energized scalp, fuller looking hair, blah, blah, blah. Right? So all this could be qualities that help you feel that this is the best, and then you choose this, but not the other shampoos. Okay, makes sense, huh? So this one have to remember, okay, order qualifiers, order winners. All right, it's already highlighted, but please remember, you need examples also. All right, it doesn't have to be real examples. You don't need to mention, for example, Avalon, right? Don't need. You can just give your own example like, okay, we compare two random shampoos, one using organic ingredients, one is just very cheap, right? Then what are the order qualifiers? What are the order winners, etc. Okay, so once we look at the order qualifiers and the order winners and or the SWOT analysis, and then you can also look at the pestle analysis. This is the pestle analysis, this one here, right? Then you can go and formulate your strategy. So what is missing in the market? What can you do better? And then you can fill the gap. All right, so it's not just randomly choosing any qualities that you want. Huh? Yeah. Okay, questions? Very sad, very, very sad. Okay. Okay, last keyword, right? So we went through competitiveness, we looked at the strategies. So we have this concept on productivity, right? So this chapter is on productivity as well. So first thing, we have to differentiate between production and productivity. So this could come out as a MCQ just to confuse. So the words look very similar, but not the same thing. So production, we are looking at how much we produce, okay? How much did we produce? So for example, in this one day, we produce 500 units total. That could be your production level, 500 per day. Then productivity, we are looking at a ratio. Efficiency. So productivity, we're looking at the ratio. So every hour, how many units are we producing? Okay, so it's 1 unit of worker to how many units of output? Input to output ratio. Is it here? Okay, here, right? 1 labor to 50 units of t-shirts in 1 hour. So potentially, I could produce 50 t-shirts in 1 hour, but I didn't work today. Okay, one more time, huh? I'm a very good t-shirt factory worker. Okay, I can do 50 t-shirts in 1 hour, but today is my off day, so I'm resting at home. Okay, so this example will show my productivity is one unit, 50 units of t-shirts per hour. But my production is 0 today because I didn't produce anything today. I was resting. This okay? Okay. Productivity is your ability, right? Your potential. So if you put me to work, I can do 50 t-shirts in 1 hour. Okay, 1%. But production is how much you actually produced, what was already produced. So let's say we produce 100 t-shirts, right? If you use me, I will take 2 hours. If you choose a new worker, maybe he takes 10 hours. Then different, right? So 2 hours, 10 hours. So both the production is 50 t-shirts, but the productivity is different because I use 2 hours, he uses 10 hours. Okay, so this is more like the skill set, this one more like the actual production itself. So why we talk about this? Because this can relate to the cost. So if you look at this example over here, let's say this person works for $10 per hour and he produces 5 t-shirts in 1 hour. Every t-shirt will cost $2. Okay, again, the first one. Every worker works for $10 per hour. He creates 5 t-shirts. Every t-shirt will cost $2 to produce in terms of the wage cost. This one doesn't include material or that. Okay, it's just purely the wage cost. But if we were to increase the wages and increase the productivity at the same time, you can see that the shirt cost is now lowered. It could be, yeah, okay. So one more time. This one, okay, delete first. Too confusing. Hire me, I give you 5 t-shirts per hour, okay? But the company has to pay me $10 per hour. So these 5 t-shirts are produced with $10 in that 1 hour, right? So every t-shirt is costing $2. Okay, now let's say we change the numbers. This person is charging $50 per hour as a worker. So I don't want to get $10 per hour, I want to get $50 per hour. But I can increase my productivity. So I do 50 pieces, you pay me $50, right? You see that every shirt here, okay, it's $1. $1, okay. So it's going to cost $1. Okay? So even though this one increases, with a higher efficiency or productivity, the cost can still come down. So it doesn't mean that just purely increasing this, it's going to be a higher cost. All right, makes sense, huh? Okay, so the question here can ask, is it true that whenever you increase the wages of workers, it will always result in higher costs for the company? Okay, one more time. So the question could ask you to discuss if every time you increase the cost or the salary of the workers, is it always going to increase the cost to the company? Okay, so if they ask you to discuss, you have to mention both sides. Yes and no, then opinions. Okay, so you have to provide scenarios where it could increase the cost. Let's say the worker still does 5 t-shirts. Then yes, right? Every t-shirt costs $10 now. But no, if the productivity is higher, every t-shirt could cost less instead. Okay, makes sense, huh? And productivity can translate to your competitiveness and strategy. Because with this, your cost can reduce, then you can charge a lower price. Okay, makes sense, huh? All right. Okay, let's try. Okay, let's look at this then. Look at it. All right. So question 2, catering company. This could also come up for your quiz. Exam, not so much. The quiz could test you on this. So very simple calculation. Agree, right? Quite simple. It's a trap. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so this one could come up for the quiz. Not this question, but this question type. Okay, because if I remember correctly, it'll be first 3 chapters for the quiz. Okay, so chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. All right, okay. So this company served 300 meals last week using 8 workers. The week before, 6 workers prepared and served 240 meals at the wedding reception. All right, so which one was the labor productivity higher? So the answers are given for reference. 300 meals to 8 workers, 37.5 meals per worker. This one, 240 to 6, so it's 40 meals to 1 worker. Okay, so labor productivity is higher at the wedding reception. Okay, makes sense to you? You take a look, don't just okay, then later don't understand. Okay, see if this makes sense to you, because this one could come out for the quiz. All right, you need to work out you need to work out. Or if you're copying your friend, then your friend needs to work out. Someone has to work out. Too easy.
Just divide,
Sorry?
just divide the figures.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
The workers' number changes, the calculation will be more complicated actually.
Maybe. No, must treat you to say it's easy first. Okay. Oh, this one comes in different parts. So this one just calculate the productivity and compare. Second part here, after we compare, then they ask us, what are some possible reasons for the productivity differences? So what could be some reasons why? Here, the worker only did 37 meals. Here, the workers did 40 meals. Okay? So how come the productivity is different? Any possible reasons? You know,
just more work.
okay. So why the first case, this one only does 37, this one did 40. Any possible reasons? Let's say in the same one day, this one did 40, but in the same one day, this one only did 37. How come do less or how come do more?
But the number of people coming in.
The people coming in, that means
Have the exact number right. No way to assume the people who are
possible reason. The time, okay. Possible, since the question didn't specify possible. So this one could have more time to prepare or less time to prepare, okay? Anything else? Okay, the complexity of the meals that we have to prepare. Any other reasons? Choices as in,
Clean.
so the variety?
Yeah.
Variety, okay. Variety can also, so variety, then the complexity, how much time to prepare. Okay, we can look at the experience, skills, right? This one maybe all fresh graduates. This one maybe all 60-year-old workers, right? Very experienced. Okay, possible, right? So some reasons here, let's say, okay, serving time is longer, or let's say they are served to each individual guest, etc. Then more experienced, and then they could have increased. It could be the same batch, right? Same batch of workers, but we go for training, suddenly they are much faster. Okay, so this one just testing on the reasoning. Let's look at this. Okay, interesting. Okay, so this one should be last question already. Okay, then finish for today. Okay, so this is a small gardening business. The company plants and maintains flower gardens for both commercial and residential clients. Company was founded 5 years ago. It has grown a lot. They have about 8 seasonal employees who are responsible for a certain number of clients. Each morning crews are assigned to jobs by the owner. The sizes range from 2 to 4 workers. Then the crew size and composition are a function of the square footage and requirements. So probably the bigger the garden and the more difficult the job, they give more people. Okay, so 2 to 4 people in one group. So the owner feels that large jobs should be assigned to crews of 4 workers to complete in a reasonable amount of time. From time to time, the owner noticed that some jobs, like the biggest ones, took longer than she has estimated. The owner's son, Joe, decided to investigate, and he kept records of the job times and crew sizes. So here, you have a crew size of 2, average productivity 4,000 plus square feet per day, 3, 5,000 plus per day, 4, 7,000 plus per day. The company operates on a small profit margin, so we have to keep the productivity into account very closely. So which crew size had the highest productivity per worker? Which crew size had the lowest? What are some possible reasons for that? How to do this? Possible quiz question. Okay, this one not too difficult. It's just a bit longer story, right? So here they gave us like very short story. This one, they tell you a long fairy tale before they ask you to calculate. Okay, so how should we do this? Or if you have the answer already, or the steps. Yes. Okay, so we use this divided by 2. Okay, then 5,000 divided by 3, 7,000 divided by 4. Right, okay, so this one would be the answer. Correct? Same answer? Same?
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Alright, okay. So this one will give us the productivity, right? The next part is why. So here is saying, and if you notice, it's quite interesting. You have 2 workers, the productivity is the highest. Then we give you 3 workers, it is the lowest. Then when you have 4 workers, the productivity goes up. Okay, so it's not the highest if you have the smallest and so on. It actually is up and down trend. So crew size is 2, productivity is highest. 3, it goes down. 4, it goes up. Right? So now they're asking why like that. Any possible explanations? So first one, how come the smallest group is the most productive? How come the smallest group is the most productive? Skills, experience, okay, but
Where it is lower compared to others.
okay, so but they also have fewer people. Fewer people, smaller space. More people, bigger space. Speaking from experience, right? Possible. So fewer people, there could be less disruptions, right? Okay, anything else? Anything else?
Maybe higher wages, that compel them to do more work.
Okay. So this one could have a higher wage, right? Then we can go on to say maybe they are more experienced because there's only 2 of them, right? Four could mean that you can have some they are not so experienced, right? You can bring them along. But 2 means if one is not good, then the other person is doing everything, right? A bit unfair. So it could be experience and wages. It could be talking. It could be for the equipment as well, for example. So here they give some points. Things like equipment. Then things like, for example, the coordination. Of course, the talking one and all that also makes sense. So this one, again, up to you to give your own reasons. All right. Then, okay, last one. No. After a recent storm, a customer called in a panic, saying she had planned a garden party for the upcoming weekend. Her garden was in a shambles. The owners decided to send a crew of 4 workers, even though a 2-worker crew would have a higher productivity. Explain the rationale for this decision. So 2 has the highest productivity, but they send in 4 workers. Okay, they could do faster overall because still more people, right? Okay, rest. Okay, possible also. Okay, so we have very little time. So 4 could do more than 2 workers. Then there could be more things that need to be done. For example, you have to man the destroyed fences. You need more workers to do different jobs. Okay, last one. What is a possible qualitative issue that may very well influence productivity levels that the productivity ratios fail to take into account? So productivity ratio would measure input to output ratio. Okay, 1 worker to how many units of output. So what are some possible issues that may influence productivity? Last question. Then I will see you just on next week. Anything? So what could affect the productivity levels of the workers?
Sufficient time.
Okay, that means
The order level time maybe.
so they don't have time. Okay, this one may need to explain a bit more. So like if you have
So that insufficient time leads to lack in quality, right?
okay. Quality doesn't matter. This one more on the productivity. But okay, so to extend from here, it could be because they are very urgent need. They could be faster, right?
The sudden change in plans and date and times of schedule
So push them
to be
to
delivered.
be faster. Okay, possible. That could be one. We can talk about the training, right? Can talk about the experience. So here, for machineries, the quality may be different. Then the experience of the workers may be different as well. So these are some points that we can use. So just to wrap up, we talked about competitiveness. We talked about strategy. We talked about productivity. So competitiveness, they may ask about examples of competitiveness. They may ask us to define the term as well. So that's competitiveness. Strategy, we need examples of strategies. They may need you to define as well. Then they may need you to, let's say, look at the analysis. Where was it? Give me a while. Okay, so let's say order qualifiers, order winners, then pestle analysis and SWOT analysis. Then productivity, mostly about the calculation. So it would be comparing between productivity and production, right? It's not the same concept. Then how can we affect or change productivity? And then also looking at the cost as well. Is it always that when you raise the cost, it will always be more expensive? So we could also link with productivity to say that it may not always be the case. Okay, All right, last call for question.